brains aren't that smart? What? That sounds ridiculous. We need our brains in order to live, to think, to do things, right? But here's the thing. Your brain's main goal is to just keep you alive. Survival! Everything else is icing on the cake. Think about it. We've all heard about someone who's had an accident and they're in a vegetative state, but they're still alive. That person can't think, can't talk, can't walk or do anything, but they're still living. The brain has done its job. Sort of. Your brain's mission is to keep you alive, and it does a good job at that. Thank you, brain. There is part of the brain called the amygdala that acts like a danger detector. When it detects danger, it sends a red alert signal to your body to prepare for the threat. That's when your body gets ready to fight, flight, or freeze. Back in caveman days, the caveman faced many dangers and really needed fight, flight, and freeze to help him survive everyday life. A dinosaur might eat him. Another caveman might steal his food. He might get bitten by a giant snake. The list goes on and on. So the caveman's amygdala got really, really good at detecting dangers. It would activate red alert, and the caveman could automatically react without thinking and fight off the snake, run away, or hide to stay alive. We're not cavemen anymore, though we still have the same amygdala to alert us of dangers. But today, we don't have the same kinds of dangers that the cavemen did. For example, when we forget our cell phones at home, we feel a sense of panic in our body. Or when we're running late and stuck in traffic, we're filled with rage like we could fight. Or when we miss a deadline at work or school, we feel like blowing up or just running away. There are some very dangerous threats in today's world, don't get me wrong, but most of our threats are based on our modern lives. Today, we usually don't have to worry about starving to death or being eaten by wild animals. And we definitely don't have the same number of dangerous threats that the caveman faced on a daily basis. But because our brains aren't that smart, they really can't tell the difference between a caveman threat and a modern-day threat. When our amygdala sends a red alert signal to our body, we start to produce a hormone called adrenaline. If we don't use these hormones, what happens to them? They'll eventually dissipate, but they can harmfully build up if red alert continues over and over. This ongoing buildup of adrenaline can cause all sorts of physical symptoms like headaches, stress, stomach aches, panic attacks, mood issues, fatigue, brain fog, and others. Sometimes people will fall into the trap of using unhealthy coping mechanisms to try to help with these symptoms. Some examples are drinking alcohol, overeating, working too much, overspending, drug use, etc. But wait, before you do that, let's try to outsmart your brain. The first thing you need to do to outsmart your brain is to ask one simple question. How big is my problem? Ask yourself if this problem will significantly change your life or affect you in a day, a week, a month, a year, or forever. If it's not going to significantly change your life, you might be able to outsmart your brain and respond instead of react. When we react, our amygdala is in charge. But when we respond, we use a different part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex can do critical thinking, solve problems, use logic, see the bigger picture, think things through, etc. It can respond to a situation instead of just automatically react to it. So you could be more in charge of your brain instead of your brain being in charge of you. Sounds easy, right? Well, if you've been reacting to things your entire life, it can be hard to change your way of thinking. The more that our adult brains can practice responding instead of reacting, the more you can be in charge of your brain and how you manage situations in your life. Thank you to our brains for doing their job to keep us alive, even if brains aren't that smart. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.